Live session with us about various skilled occupations and their prospective future pathways. Today, we're talking about one of the most requested topics, which is accounting. And we know a lot of you have been struggling with this occupation. You have been feeling stuck. You don't know what's the way ahead. And today, we're going to be answering all your questions. We have with us Mr. Harshit Tailor, who is one of our experienced and most knowledgeable registered migration agents from Aussizz Group Werribee. And he is highly skilled with a broad spectrum of occupations and will be able to answer your questions about general skilled migration, skill assessments, and all things related to accounting. So leave your questions for him in the comment section below, and Harshit will be able to take care of them. Harshit, if you could take us through.
Thank you, Riddhi. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is well during this lockdown and the pandemic. I hope everyone is keeping themselves safe. So today's topic is accounting occupations and PR pathways. So I'll be guiding you through the accounting occupations. So these are the four main occupations, okay, which are in demand right now, and mostly all the, let's say, applicants are coming in migration pathways over here on these occupations. So most of the people we have seen that have a skill assessment in accounting, general, management accountant, taxation accountant, and external auditors. So first of all, we'll know how you can get a skill assessment in these occupations. So if you want to get a skill assessment in an accounting occupation, you need to meet the core subject requirements of accounting subjects, okay, and then you need to get 7 each in IELTS or related PT or anything, and then you are eligible to get the skill assessment in that. So let's say if you don't have 7 each in IELTS and you just have 6 each, then also you are eligible to apply for the skill assessment. You just require professional year. So if you do professional year after study in Australia, then also you can get the skill assessment after your study over here, okay. So the skill assessment can be in the 4 occupations, as I previously told. So there are 4 pathways. There are 3 pathways in this one. So the first pathway is 189, the second one is 190, and the third one is 491, and the fourth pathway is the employer nominated pathway. So first we'll talk about the general skill migration PR pathways, which is 189, 190, and 491. So 189, currently it's quite hard to get 189 visa. So I suggest people who are in accounting occupations to not rely on the 189 pathway, because they have stopped inviting from last couple of years for accountants for the 189 PR pathway. So we'll focus on 190 and 491 today. So I'll go through each and every state nominations, which will help you to get the 491 and 190 in your nominated occupation as an accountant. So the first state we'll be going through is New South Wales. So in New South Wales, recently they have announced in last month their requirements, okay. So it is a good news for accountants, okay, because they have included accountants in 190 and 491 list both, and they have introduced so many seats for all the occupations. So 491 and 190 can be an option for the accountants over there. So for 491, the requirement is that if you have been living and working in New South Wales from past 1 year, then there are chances and you can apply in that pathway, okay. And stream 2 here is that if you are new over here and you want to study 2 years of accounting field in your accounting field, and if you finish 24 months of experience over there, then you will be eligible to apply in stream 2 of the pathway. So you need to get the skill assessment in that nominated occupation only. So your study should be basically related to your nominated occupation, and then you can apply for the 491 in New South Wales. The study should be in regional, so please make sure that study should be in regional only, in regional New South Wales. If you study in Sydney, then you won't be considered about that pathway. The third pathway is the stream 3 pathway. So recently, if you have just the skill assessment and if your points are high, then you are eligible to apply for this pathway. So there is no requirement that you should be living in New South Wales. You can be anywhere while applying anywhere in Australia. If you have accounting skill assessment, you can apply for this pathway. So currently there are regional development areas in New South Wales for 491. So the regional development areas in which the accountant occupation is available right now is Central Coast, Central West, Far West, Northern Inland, Orana, and Southern Inland. So depending on the requirements of the RDAs, they will invite you. So they have given 3 preferences. So you can choose from the 3 preferences they have provided. So let's say if you're getting an employment over there, let's say you're living in Victoria, for example, and you are getting a job as an accountant in Central West. So if you want to move over there and work over there, then you can apply before even you finish your 1 year of experience. So you need to show the address in New South Wales that you are working in New South Wales, and you can apply through that. So that's how you can make a preference of the regional development areas according to your priority. So some of the regional development areas may have more seats, some have less seats. So some regional areas are big and some regional areas are some small. So on the basis of that, you can apply, okay, that where you are getting an employment or where is your preference in the stream 3 of 491. This is how you can score 491. So this is just a registration of interest ROI. So it doesn't mean that you will directly get the state nomination. So first you will apply for the registration of interest, then you will receive a pre-invite from them if you are selected. Then after getting selected, you need to submit all the documents and whatever points you have been shown in your expression of interest. Then after getting final invite, you will be eligible to apply for 491 over there. The second pathway for there is 190. So they have also included accountants in 190 in New South Wales. So the requirement for that is that you should be having higher points in that. Okay, so currently I'll suggest that most of the accountants will be having 95 to 100 points. So I'll suggest that points is the benchmark for accountants. So if you have that points and if you are currently living in New South Wales from past 3 months, then you are eligible to apply for that 190 expression of interest. Let's say if you are not also living in New South Wales from past 3 months and you currently move over there, if you find an employment. So if you also not have lived there for past 3 months and if you currently find an employment over there, then also you are eligible to apply through this pathway and lodge your expression of interest. So once your expression of interest is accepted from them, okay, then only they will invite you to apply for their state nomination application. So New South Wales is a great option for all the accountants. Let's say there is also finance manager, okay, which is also related an accounting related occupation only. So you can also apply for that, which is an hot favorite occupation in New South Wales, and there are so many jobs available in that occupation in New South Wales. So if you're also applying through that, then it is a good option if you find an employment in that occupation. The next state we will be going is South Australia. So South Australia also recently announced their requirements. So how South Australia state nomination works? So South Australia state nomination have 3 criteria. Okay, that if you are working in South Australia and living over there, then it is the first criteria, living and working in South Australia. It will also include the applicants who have been living from a long term over there. The second pathway is in international graduates of South Australia. Let's say people who have already been studied in South Australia and then are working in the nominated occupation, then they will be eligible for the graduate pathway. And the third pathway is the Talent and Innovator program. So Talent and Innovator program is for the applicants who are not eligible for either of the pathways and still they want to apply for the state nomination, then they have to submit an registration of interest, ROI, to be selected for the pathway in Talent and Innovator program. So I'll go through all the pathways for you. So for accountants, the only pathway available are the South Australia graduates and non-graduate pathways, and also talent and innovator program is available, but not for all the applicants. So if you are a graduate of South Australia and if you studied at least 12 months in your occupation over there, then you are eligible for 491. If you have got 12 months of experience in accounting or any finance related experience in Greater Adelaide, and if you have got 6 months of experience in outer region of South Australia, then also you are eligible for 491 after you finish your studies in South Australia. So South Australia considers 12 months of studies as to be considered as a South Australian graduate. So all the experience should be post study. So the 12 months or 6 months of experience in South Australia should be post after your study in South Australia. So I'll explain you what is Greater Adelaide and Outer Regional South Australia. So in Greater Adelaide is the Adelaide city, and Outer Regional South Australia is like 50 to 100 kilometers away from Greater Adelaide. So they have provided the postcode. So if you get a job in the remote area of South Australia, then for 6 months, then you will be eligible for that. Let's say if you are not a graduate of South Australia, okay, if you are going from any other state, let's say Victoria, New South Wales, you find a job as an accountant over there, okay, then you are eligible for that pathway as well, but that pathway is only eligible for 491. So if you have got 24 months of experience as an accountant in Greater Adelaide, then you will be eligible to apply for 491. If you have got 12 months of experience in Outer Regional South Australia, then you are eligible to apply for 491 again. So they have another pathway that if you are a long-term resident or you have been living from a long time in Outer Regional South Australia, then also you are eligible. So the long-term resident pathway is for 3 or 5 years. And if you have been living for 3 or 5 years in Outer Regional South Australia, and you are working in any occupation which is from skill level 1 to 3, with the occupation should be for 12 months, the experience should be for 12 months. So if you've been doing that experience from 12 months in any occupation, then you are eligible to apply for 491 as well. They will also consider the occupation in skill level 4 and 5 if the occupation is carers or aids occupation somewhat related to critical sector, then only they will consider that occupation. So for accountants, South Australia is also a good option if they are getting an opportunity over there, like experience in their nominated occupations, then there are chances that they can grab 491 visa over there. Although 190 is not an option in South Australia, they will only give 190 if through talent and innovative program only. So you need to, let's say, if you are a high performing graduate, if you are earning more in your accounting field, or if you are like working in Outer Regional South Australia and a high performing graduate, okay, then you have to submit an ROI, registration of interest, to them, and that you are working in a specific targeted sector, okay, and you are working as an accountant in that targeted sector, and your skills are helping to develop the economy of South Australia. Then explaining them everything, you have to submit an ROI, and on the basis of that ROI, registration of interest, they will accept your application depending case by case basis, and they will give you an invitation. So it is also an option, okay, it can also be considered for 491 as well if you are eligible for that. So South Australia is a great option for accountants, and they can move over there. The catch is that if you find a job in your nominated occupation, then it will be really better that there will be a sure shot that you will get 491. So the next occupation and the state will go for is Tasmania. So Tasmania has been really popular for accountings right now. Like most of the accountants from New South Wales and Victoria have been moving to Tasmania to try their luck. So the requirements over there is that if you have an accounting related skill assessment and if you work in your nominated occupations for 6 months full time, which is 35 hours per week, then you have chances that you will be eligible for 190 or 491. let's say if you don't have a job in accounting over there, if you have got job in any other occupation, in let's say in skill level 1 to 3, if you're working as a manager somewhere, if you are working in any health related occupation, which is carer or aged care, then also you can get a nomination for 491 if you complete 12 months of experience in that occupation. Even if it's not related to accounting, there are chances that you can get 491 for that. And if you are working in any semi accounting or finance related occupations for 6 months, then there are also chances for 491. So Tasmania is a good option if you find a job in any critical sector or accounting related sectors. Tasmania also do have their graduate pathway as well. Okay, so let's say if you have studied in Tasmania for 1 year, then also you are eligible for 491. But the requirement for that pathway, you should be studying in a specific occupation only, which is in their targeted sectors, and then only you are eligible to apply for 491 in Tasmania. So Tasmania is also a good option if you find a job in accounting related occupations. So they are still inviting accountants over there. So we have also received a few invitations. So it is better to move to Tasmania if you get an employment in your nominated occupation. So the next state we'll be going for is Western Australia. Recently, Western Australia had made some changes in their occupation list. So first there was just graduate list, and the another was general list. So they do have accounting occupation in the graduate list, but accounting occupation is currently closed in the graduate list, and their general list they have divided into 2 lists right now, which is Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 list. So in Schedule 2 list, they have included accounting. Then you are eligible to apply for 190 or 491 if your occupation is in Schedule 2 list. So accounting is already over there. But the requirement is that you should get higher points and you should get a job offer letter from Western Australia in your nominated occupation. So if depending on the offer letter, you will apply for 190 or 491. If you're getting a job letter from a remote area, which is their specified regional areas, then you are eligible for 491. So if you have higher points, if you are willing to move to Western Australia and get a offer letter from there, let's say an employment contract, the employment contract should be at least 12 months in future, and it should be full time. So if you get that contract, then you are eligible to apply for that as well. So in future, you might get an invitation for Western Australia, and it is not required that you should be living in Western Australia. You can apply from anywhere in Australia. Let's say if you're in Victoria, New South Wales, and you're getting a job offer letter in Western Australia, then also you are eligible to apply for expression of interest. And once you get the invite, you can like show your employment contract, that what documents you have got, you can submit that, and then you can get the state nomination approval. So Western Australia has recently like included accountants, so it is an option as well for accountants. The next option is Northern Territory. So Northern Territory basically has a simple rule that if you are a graduate over there, then if you have studied for 2 years and you have got the skill assessment as an accountant, then after you study, you can get 190 over there in Northern Territory. And if you have moved from anywhere else, like any other state to Northern Territory, then you can only secure 491 if you got 6 months of experience in your nominated or closely related occupation. So any accounting or finance related experience you have got in Northern Territory for 6 months, then you are eligible to apply for that. The next option is Queensland. So Queensland is currently closed right now, so they are planning to open in September 2021, but the small business owner pathway of Queensland is getting really popular among the students, because you just require skill assessment on any occupation, and if you are eligible for the small business ownership pathway, then you can apply through that. So the requirement for it is that you should be owning a business, which you have to buy, and the minimum amount should be investment should be 100,000. Okay, and the business should be at least 2 years old. So you should keep in mind that the business you are buying should be at least 2 years old. Okay, and then you have to run that business for 6 months in Queensland Regional, and you have to employ a PR or a citizen um, while you are running that business for the 6 months, and then you are eligible to apply for 491 after you finish that 6 months of running the business. So this is a good option. I hope, let's say if you are an accountant and if you want to invest somewhere, then you can use this option as a small business owner and go there. And we will be waiting for another 190 and 491 requirements from the Queensland and their occupation list as well. We need to see that they have included accountants or not when their list comes out. So this is the option for Queensland. So these are the options. We have not discussed Victoria because Victoria is not currently inviting accountants, and they have said that they won't invite accountants. Wise suggest like whoever is living in Victoria and like studying accounting or already finished their studies in accounting, I suggest to find a job in the nominated occupation in any other states where they are eligible to apply for. And then depending on the state, okay, you need to choose the state wisely, which state you want to move to, and depending on that, if they meet the requirements, they will be invited for that state. Also, we have not discussed Canberra. So Canberra, currently the requirements for Canberra is that you should be living over there, working over there, and you need to meet the requirements in Canberra metrics. So the Canberra metrics points currently for accountants, they are getting invites at 95 to 105 points. So it is quite hard to achieve that. You need to like at least study PhD. You should be working in your nominated occupation from a long time. You should be staying in Canberra for at least 2 years. You have studied in Canberra, then only you'll be able to meet the requirements. So Canberra is not an option, and also Victoria is not. So apart from the state nominations, also there are options for 186, which is employer nominated visa, and 482 visa as well. So 186 visa is a direct entry employer nominated visa. So if you have got 3 years of experience and have got skill assessment as an accountant, then you will be eligible to secure this visa. You need to find an if you are working in your nominated occupation, okay, then if your employer is ready to sponsor you, then you can be eligible to apply for this visa. If you have already got 3 years of experience, and if you don't have employer and you recently find an employer and if they are ready to sponsor you, then also you can apply for this visa. And it does not require that you should have 3 years of experience in Australia only. If you have, let's say, prior experience in your home country, and if someone is ready to sponsor you over here in Australia, then also you are eligible to apply for this visa. So although there are some caveats in this visa for the company, that the company should have at least 1 million of turnover, and there should be at least 5 full-time employees working in the occupation, there for this occupation. So there should be 5 full-time employees. Okay, it's not necessary that they should be working in accounting occupation. They should be working in any occupation. Okay, and it can lead you to PR. So this visa is also really popular right now, because as you know that 189, 190 and 491 they are not granting really frequently. So, and also they have included accountants in the priority migration list. So if they have included them in priority migration list, that means that there's a scarcity of that employers right now in Australia, and they want to invite them over here. So accounting can be a good option for them. Okay, and if someone is ready to sponsor you, then accountants can apply for this visa. So the another visa after this 186 visa is the 482 and 494 visa. So 482 visa is also an employer sponsor visa, same at 186, but the difference is that for 482 visa you require 2 years of experience, and for 186 it was 3 years of experience. So if someone is ready to sponsor you in Australia, then you can apply for this visa, 482 visa. And if once the employer has sponsored you, you will get a visa for 2 to 4 years. In this one, as accounting is already in medium to long term scale list, you will get 2 to 4 years of visa. And after you get 482 visa, it is a pathway to PR. It is not directly a PR. So after you get the 482 visa, there are two options for you. Let's say if your employer is ready to nominate you after 1 year after you hold 482 visa, then you can apply for 186 transition stream visa. And let's say if your employer is ready to sponsor you while you hold 482 visa after 3 years, then you can apply for 186 transition stream. So the so after 1 year, sorry, it was 186 direct entry stream, and after 3 years it will be 186 transition stream. So there are two pathways after you hold the 482 visa. It will lead you to 186 visa, which is the PR visa. So 494 is also an employer sponsor visa, but the difference between 482 and 494 is that in 482 employer can be anywhere in Australia, in metropolitan as well, but to be eligible for 494 visa, you require that the employer should be in regional only, and they should give you an employment as an accountant over there. And the prior requirement is that you should have at least 3 years of experience, and then you are eligible for 494 visa. So once they sponsor you, this visa is for 5 years, and you have to be with that employer for 3 years, and after you can apply for 191 visa. So 191 visa is also a similar pathway for 491 visa as well. So after you hold 491 visa, which is also a 5-year visa. So after 491, if you live in any regional area for 3 years and meet an income threshold of 54,000, which is exactly $53,900 for each that 3 years, then you are eligible to apply for 191 visa as well. So after 491 and 491 visa, it will lead to 191 visa, which is the PR pathway. So the another option after 494 visa is the global talent visa. So global talent visa actually is getting really popular as well, because it has less wait time. The application can be prioritized. Most of the applicants get the visa within a week or a month. So your application get prioritized. So for this visa, you require that you should be highly skilled in your nominated occupation. If you are working as like in financial services, the occupation for the targeted sector is financial services and fintech. So if you're working in that occupation, and if you have got higher income threshold, which is around 158,000, then you are eligible to apply for this visa. So this is a good option as well for accountants who are highly skilled accountants and have done masters by research or PhD graduates. Then it can be beneficial for that kind of applicants who have finished that course. So for this visa, the main thing is that you require a nominator. So you should keep in mind that if you have a nominator, then only you will be able to apply for this visa. So 858 Global Talent Visa can be a good option if you are a highly skilled accountant. So before moving ahead, we can take off a few things. Okay, that what you need to do to achieve 190 or 491 visa. We won't talk about 189 visa, as I previously told you that it's hard to get 189 visa. They are not giving any invitations, not only for accountants, for other occupations as well. It is quite hard to get invitation of past 2 years. So if you want to get 190 or 491 visa, you should focus on getting work closely related or in nominated occupation before graduating. So let's say if you started your education, and then I suggest that you start finding a job in your nominated occupation. So before you finish your studies, you have at least got an experience. And after you finish your studies, when you apply for a graduate visa, you should have you may be able to get 2 or 3 years of experience in total. On the basis of that, you can apply for employer sponsor visa. Also for other state nominations for 190 or 491, there are chances that most of the states require at least 1 year of experience. 6 months to 1 year is the minimum criteria, and some states require 12 to 24 months of experience. So if you are already working in a nominated occupations, then you will know the inside and outside of that field, and it will be easy for you to get the employment in any other state where there are higher chances to get an outcome for your 491 or 190. If you find a job over there, let's say some state has a requirement that you should get a job offer letter from there, then it will be easy for you to get a job offer letter if you are already in that field occupation. The next thing is to increase points on the skill select points table to be more competitive in application process. Yeah, so definitely I suggest everyone in accounting, because accounting is been a competitive occupation, so it's better to get more points in that. So as I told earlier, that 90 to 95 points is the benchmark for accounting occupations. So if some people, I have seen people who has already got 100 to 105 points as well. They have done everything to get the points. They have got experience as well. They have done English examination, English test, which is PT or NATI. You have to get 8 each. Then you can also do PY professional year, which can also give you 5 more points. So this is how you can increase the points. And then next thing is focus on working in critical industries to get priorities. So as I discussed, okay, that some states, they also, let's say South Australia and Tasmania, they require that if you are working in your, if you are not working in a nominated occupation, okay, then also if you are working in critical industries, okay, then also there are chances that you can get a priority in your state nomination application 190 or 491. Let's say I'll give you an example. Let's say an accounting is working in health related occupation in a hospital as an accountant, then there are chances that you will get a priority in state nomination compared to others accountants. So it's better to find a job in the critical sector. Due to this COVID, there is a high demand of working in critical sectors. So it's better to focus on those critical industries. Choose the right state for your, rather than focusing on 189 program. So as I already been mentioning a couple of times, that don't focus on 189 program, because 189 program, it's hard to achieve the point system, and they are also not inviting in 189 program. So suggested to focus on other things, which is 190, 491, then employer sponsor visas. So if you keep working in your nominated occupation, then there are chances you can achieve that. And try to like meet other migration agents. Okay, don't stay away from the rumors, as I said. Then don't like talk to a friends or something, meet any migration agent. Let's say someone will be like getting like someone might have an experience in general skill migration, some other migration, and won't be doing general skill migration. So meet that people who are efficient in that field only, and they can guide you to your pathway to PR. Okay, and people might have a different like profiles. So each people, let's say you or your friend are living together, okay, but he has also done accounting and you also have done accounting, okay, but your profiles might be different because you might be working in different industries as an accountant. So this can affect your application as well. Your points might be different. You might have higher points, you might not have higher points. So So you need to look into that as well, and focus on the right industry, your points, you need to get everything. So this is how it can help you to achieve 190 or 491. So these are the points you need to keep in mind. And if you start everything early, move early, then there are chances that you can get 190 or 491, because people are saying that accounting are not getting any invitations, but it is not like that. Accountings are still getting invitations, and you need to just focus and be in the industry and look how you can get a state nomination from states. So be active and you may get the state nominations. Okay, so this is the data actually I'll be sharing with you, that what is the data immigration has shared with, like this is the FOI, so you can see online as well, freedom of information. So they share for each financial year. So this is for the financial year last year until 31st of December 2020. So this is for 189 and 190 for accounting general and related occupations. So we'll be having a look for that. So as you can see, for 189 until 31st of December 2020, for 189, New South Wales has got so many invites for 189, and for 190 you can see that Tasmania and Australian Capital Territory has given so many invites to accountants. This is for the accounting occupations outside Australia who have applied. So for 189 it was 68 in total until that date, and for 190 it was 102. But we'll look into Australian location. So for taxation accountant, if you see for 189 and 190 numbers until 31st of December 2020, then you can see that for 189 there were only 6 visas, and for 190 it is 160 visas. So as you can see, 189 they are not giving that much invitations and visa grants. So these are the visas on hand right now who has already applied. So they are assessing that applications. They may be assessing the applications from March 2019 as well. So there are so many applications which are pending. So this is the data of that who have already got the invitation and their visa process is still going on. Okay, so visa application granted. This is for accounting general for Western Australia. Yeah, this is for 190 and 190 for New South Wales and Tasmania. So number of seats are there. This is also for 189 and 190 for accounting general occupations. You can see the activity over here for the last month, last year until December. So for 190, you can see that this much applications are lodged for 190. So you can see most of the applications are lodged from Tasmania, Western Australia. So this is the data of that. This is the data of the visa application lodged outside Australia for accounting general occupations. This is the data of taxation accountant application lodged in Australia. So you can see there are less number of application lodged and less number of invites for 190. So this is the visa application lodged for taxation accountants. This is outside Australia, so less than 5 occupations. So we can see that there won't be anyone coming right now from outside Australia, and they won't be eligible because most of the state nominations has like they are not inviting the offshore applicants right now. So the next year data will be for the applicants who are living in Australia only. So there are higher chances for the ones who are already living in Australia, that as no one is coming over here and they won't be eligible for state nominations. So I'll suggest that they keep finding the jobs in their nominated occupation, so can apply for state nominations and 491 or 190 visa. These are the visa applications on hand for 12 months and over for 189 skill stream in accounting general. So at least 170 applications are still on hold for 12 months or over. So as I told you, that from March 2019 or like 18 in 2018, some of the applications are still on hold for accounting and they are not given visa grants as well. This is for taxation accountant. So 190 occupation for Western Australia. So as you can see that for Western Australia, in the month of March, they have given 190. So visa applications from Western Australia. This is the month by month basis criteria. You can see the number of applications from July 2020 to March 2021. So you can see an average of invites Western Australia is given is around 130 to 150 for taxation accountants. So it is also a good option that they are giving invites, and most of the people will be lodging some of them might have got invites, some of them are still lodging. So you can know that around 140 to 150 is some mark that you can suggest that they have given invitations as a taxation accountant. This is for finance manager. So as you can see, for finance manager, the number of applications which are lodged, this is how many EOIs has been lodged. So you can see that most of the EOIs you can see are lodged for 119 New South Wales, and the next is Western Australia. So New South Wales, as I told you, that there are higher chances in New South Wales, and New South Wales have been nominating finance managers for a long time. So there are chances that you can get an invite if your occupation is a finance manager. Yes, so this is the points versus the visa EOI summary. So you can see that for finance manager. This is a good distribution. This is the 491 and EOI distribution, that how many EOIs has been lodged. So for 190, you can see that 52% has been covered by New South Wales, which is the highest, and for 491, Queensland is the highest in EOI. So in this occupation, they have received the most EOIs in this occupation. So as you can see that where you can find the finance manager work in Australia. So you can find that jobs mostly in Australia in New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland. So New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland has mostly covered like 80% of the jobs and finance manager, followed by South Australia, Western Australia and other states. So if you want to get an invitation, or if you want to find a job, then you can know that where you can find a job and in which state there are high chances you can get an invitation for. For accounting general, this is the data for the EUIs. So you can see that highest number of EUIs has been received for 190, which is 5,000, followed by, I think it's Victoria, 778. This is the distribution, in percentage. This is the EOI distribution for 190. So again, New South Wales, you can see that that is 45% of the EOIs has been lodged in New South Wales in accounting occupations, and you can also find jobs of accountant more in New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland. So 39% jobs are in accountant general are in New South Wales, followed by Victoria and Queensland. So again, 80% of the market mostly is been covered by these three states, which have more job opportunities in accounting and related occupations. So this is for management accountants. So you have to keep in mind that for management accountant and close related occupations, so most of the people might have lodged 2 or 3 EOIs, okay, because they have got 2 or 3 skill assessments. So this number you have to like keep in mind as well, okay, like while looking at these numbers, that some of the people might have 3 skill assessments, so that's why the number can be greater as well. So this is the percentage distribution. And again, 32% of the EOS for 190 has been lodged in New South Wales. And for management accountants, you can find like 26% of the jobs in New South Wales. In Victoria, it's 29%, which is higher than New South Wales, and Queensland it is 17%. So again, you can see that you can find Western Australia as well coming in as for management accountants. There are 18% of the jobs available there as well. So this is how you can judge that which state you want to go for depending on their occupation, and you can apply according to that. So we'll take some questions now. I'll be answering everyone's question like once I read everyone's question, and I'll be answering your questions on the comments only. So I hope this was an informative session for you guys, and we'll see you again. Thank you.